Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this next session of Freelance Business Week, uh, Tampa, Kansas City style. My co-host, who's co-hosting several of our sessions today, is Julie Cortez, and she is a freelance rock star. And Tampa and Kansas City, those two Super Bowl teams, teamed up this year to be able to bring you Thursday of Freelance Business Week. So very excited to bring on screen my next presenter, Cami Hughes, APR at Cami Chat. And how you doing this afternoon, Cami?
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. Cami was one of our speakers last year at Freelance Business Week, and that was the first year I got involved and brought it to Tampa Bay area. So this year, as likewise, Kansas City, Missouri hadn't been involved before. Although they've been involved in a lot of freelance stuff out their way, and so they asked if they could team up with me. So this has been great, and Cami has we've kind of did levels of programming this year. So she's we taking it up a notch, I would say, because she's going to talk about building a sales funnel and a customer journey to build a sales funnel. And again, I think a lot of times that's one of the hardest things for all of us to talk about is how do we get from what we want to do, what we're passionate about, to selling. And so Cami, I'm just going to turn it over to you now, and we'll pop any comments or questions on the screen. Is that okay as we go through if something's relevant, or we'll hang
absolutely, absolutely, and I'll be watching too. So definitely make sure you put questions as we go, because I can see what you're saying. I can see it's here on the side. And first of all, I just want to say, Kevin, you're such a collaborative person. I've been so privileged to get to know you over the last year. Thank you so much for what you do for this community. I'm really excited for how it's grown. And so thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I know you're very busy. So I'm going to go off studio here and take it away.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope that you have woken up here. I'm going to share my screen here a little bit so you can see what I'm going to be talking about. So let me put that up here. All right, here we go. So I'm on the screen. Awesome. So creating a customer journey funnel to increase your sales. Here's the thing. I have never really felt like I was great at sales, but there's something that has to be done, right? It's kind of a necessary evil in our businesses, if you will. But just like you, first of all, let me just tell you a little bit about me as I tell you about this. I started just like many of you. I don't know if you're just starting out or where you are in your business. I'd love to know in the comments. Like, are you just starting out? Would you say you're like mid? Like you've been a freelancer for 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years, or are you like a veteran? Let me know in the comments, because I would love to tailor this to you a little bit. But creating that customer journey was something that I couldn't even imagine when I first started my business. And really, I started out in 2005, sitting in my apartment with my new husband, and I just moved halfway across the country from Washington, D.C. to San Antonio at that time. And I had this dream that I wanted to have this business. I wanted to be my own boss. I'd been a director of communications, had a great boss, really, but really wanted to do my own thing. And I thought this was a great opportunity to do that. The problem was I had no plan, and I had no clients. And basically, I was just kind of marooned out in the middle of the country, knowing no one and not really knowing where to start. And the reason I have these birds here is because there was a mud swallow that built her nest just outside of my apartment window. And that became like basically my lifeline to the world, where these small birds, and she had like 3 broods during that season. And I'm going to tell you, I did not know what I was doing, even though I'd had a really successful career, even in public relations. And even though I knew my stuff as far as my art, my science of public relations and marketing and communications, I had no idea how to start a business or to sell or to do any of that. So I had to learn the hard way. And what I did, I'm going to share with you today exactly what I did. And I'm going to let you know what my current funnel is and how maybe you can build a funnel as well. Oh, good. We have a freelancer for 6 years. Good. That's awesome. Again, like I said, I've been doing this since 2005, so a really long time, and actually since 2002, because I started before that. So just really trying to figure it out. And one of the things that I want to make sure of is that not anybody else has to go through what I've gone through. So these days, what I've done is I've built I actually have an agency, a small agency, it's 6 figures. high six figures. And we work with brands every day to run their social media accounts. And we've used social media to build my agency with little to no advertising. I've only started advertising really in the last couple of years and really selectively. So we weren't paying for this. And we built multiple online communities for brands doing this, and also for my own company, all using social media, all from home. So like you, when the pandemic hit, I felt right at home, right? Like we just kept doing what we were doing. Also, I have been out. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today too is how do you get visibility? That's going to be the first step, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And I have been on television, radio. I speak all over the country. I, have done a lot of amazing things to kind of bring my brand out to the front. And I'll talk a little bit more about how I got from that lonely apartment to there in a minute, because you can do that too. And I know Kim was just talking about that right before this one. So if you were at that one, there you go. And here's my team. So I am not a freelancer anymore, so to speak, because I have an amazing team. But guys, I did not have a team for upwards of a decade. So it was just me and the occasional freelancer that I hired, and collaborations with other freelancers. So I totally know exactly what you're going through. I know exactly who you are. And now I do have this team, and it's been really amazing to grow that. And we can maybe save that for another presentation about how you can grow a team from there. But I was just thinking about Maya Angelou, and she said, at the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I just want that to sink in, because we're going to talk about a lot of technicalities here in a minute. But really all they are is a vehicle for you to have a relationship with your customers and to grow through relationships. And that's really underneath everything I'm going to talk about today. That's all it is. There's mechanisms that you need to have in place, but those mechanisms only help you to be able to do that at scale. So everybody up for that? Are you agreeing with me on that? I would love to start that up for you. So that being said, this is what we're going to cover. Over the next, 30, 45 minutes or so, we're going to cover the 6 steps to a marketing funnel. And we're going to go over visibility, quick wins, collecting leads, making an offer, solving a problem, and gathering testimonials. And Kim did a great job of gathering testimonials. So I'm so happy. Definitely go back and listen to hers if you did not, because she goes into depth on that. I'm going to basically give you the whole journey. And then, I'm going to give you some tools that are going to make it easier for you to do that job. Okay. So if that sounds great, let me know. Say, yep, sounds great. And then at the end, I'll leave just a little time for any questions that you throw into the chat. All right. Okay. So number 1, is this you? Do you have a business, and do you have at least one customer? Because if you do have a business and at least one customer, my friend, you already have a funnel. Okay. So everybody who's selling something has a funnel. So I know that there's a lot of people that talk all the time about you have to just one funnel to get to $1 million, one great funnel. And I know a lot of marketing people specifically are talking about that all the time. But here's the thing, you already have a funnel. And what I mean by that is you have a mechanism by which people hire you, and they become a customer of yours. So this is just a refinement of what you're already doing, adding a few maybe extra steps, but just understanding how to get from the A to the B that you're trying to accomplish, okay? But here's the pathway. We're going to go through this one by one. And again, I'm going to just really quickly start with visibility content. So visibility content is the number one thing you have to do. And I heard something the other day that I thought was really good. They talked about omnipresence. I have this happen all the time. People say, Cami, you're everywhere. And I'll be like, no, I'm only where you are. So I know who my clients are. I know who exactly that I want to help. And because of that, I show up in those places. And then they'll see me somewhere else, maybe on a radio interview, or maybe they'll see me in, writing up an article for Forbes or something like that. And they're like, wow, why are you everywhere? And it's because it's very intentional. Okay, so it's very intentional. So here's the thing. Some of you here in this room probably don't have a clue even who I am. And that's fine. You don't need to know who I am, because here's the thing. I probably, you're not in this orb of people that I've been trying to get into my programs or my clients. So most of our clients at Zoetica, which is my agency, are mid-sized to large companies, and we run their social media for them. So we run them for a large hospital system. We've run them for large brands like SeaWorld and others like that, that we've run their actual social media for them. So when I'm talking about that kind of customer, I'm showing up in different places than, say, when I'm doing my online Smart Social Secrets course, which is really aimed at influencers and actually people probably like you too. And so we'll get there, small businesses, people that want to like get this visibility going for them. So you have to show up where the people are. So that's the first thing. And it's the first thing for any kind of program, is that you have to be really clear about who you're trying to reach. That way you can go out and show up in the places where they're reading stuff, where they're watching stuff, where they are. And so the only way to know that is by saying, I'm going after this specific type of customer. And that's really great because, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to limit myself down to a certain number, because then, I can help these people too, and I can help these people. But here's the thing, you have to show up for them in a lot of places. So every time you pick a second customer, so you have one kind of customer, then another, you have to do another whole marketing thing for them. So I told you, I've got this training path, and I've got this, done for you social media service path. Those are two totally different campaigns as far as getting out there and getting your funnel put together. So I just want you to be aware of that. So start with one funnel, one client, and then think about how you can show up on a very regular basis. And you guys, because social media, we can broadcast ourselves. I mean, here we are today putting on this conference. Would this be possible 10 years ago? It would have been hard. It could have been done, but it would cost a lot of money. It would have been difficult. So right now, video is really, really hot, and it's easy. It's not for everyone. I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable just turning on a camera and starting to talk to it like we are today. But video is a big one right now. So I really do highly recommend that you think of a video strategy if you can. So for me, I'll just talk about my business. I'm going live every Thursday. Every Thursday at 9 a.m., I'm going live to talk about one social media topic, or to bring in a guest to talk about that same topic. That's how I'm doing it. And the reason I am is because I can take that and chop it up into pieces. I can make it into a carousel on Instagram. I can make it into a tweet. I can make it into a room that I open up on Clubhouse. I can make it into a bunch of different things if I do it just this one way. So I do like video. I also like, visuals and photographs. So again, you can do that as your main source of content, but the problem is, of course, that you need to be known for that. So usually the people that use that as their main source of content are like either photographers or videographers, or it depends on who you are, right? And what kind of business you have. And so like putting out photos are, it's great, but it usually is a supplemental. And then I have the audio down here. So this whole thing with Clubhouse and Spaces and all of these places that are doing audio only, and also, by the way, a podcast. So I do have a podcast. It's called Communities That Convert, that I did for a couple of years with Madeline Sklar. We have all these topics about social media there. So that's a great way to go. And right now, you can also open up a space on Twitter, or you can go to Clubhouse and do a room about a specific topic. And by the way, Facebook is getting one too. And I'm sure they all will have these audio things fairly soon across the board. I'm hearing about it all the time. So those audio things are good. So if you don't like being on camera, think about doing an audio thing, because that makes people you're in people's ears when you do that. They're listening to you. One person that does this really well, her name is Emily Hirsch, and it's spelled Hirch, I think, Hirsch, or SH. Anyway, she is an amazing Facebook advertising expert, and she does a podcast that's about 10 minutes long every single week. And she has one little tip or one strategy for doing your Facebook ads better. It's brilliant because she can batch them. She can do them all together at once, and then she can kind of drip them out. And it doesn't require any video editing. You can send it to an audio editor. You can either get one in your local area. I'm sure there's a lot of freelancers here that would love to do your audio, or you can, find somebody on Upwork, which is also a bunch of freelancers there too, which I have done that as well. So there's a lot of great ways you can get this out very quickly. So you do need to pick some content. And then over here in the right-hand corner, I have what I call pillar content, which is like a blog post or some people use Medium to do this, or some people use LinkedIn, which they have a article feature in your LinkedIn profile. So you have to kind of choose what you're going to do. And by the way, again, choose one, because you are not going to be able to do all the things. You are not going to be able to do all the things. Choose one way that you can show up consistently, week after week after week. And as you do that, you are going to stay at the top of mind for people. They're going to see you, even if they don't stop and listen, they don't watch. I have people say all the time, wow, I saw your video, or, I see you on Facebook all the time. Even if they're not listening to what you say, they're registering that you exist. And what's great about that is that brings in that word of mouth. So if you have, what I found was really interesting about this was when I started doing it, customers I'd had, that I'd done a project for, they came out of the woodwork. They're like, hey, I've been thinking about doing this project. Can you do that with me? And maybe they would have gone on to somebody else or gone somewhere else if I hadn't just been visible all the time. So that's really important to be visible. And as a freelancer, you're going to have to be the face for your company, or the voice. You're going to have to be that. And it's always hard, and it doesn't feel like it's going to pay off. But what I was actually just talking right before we came on to Kevin about how it was so much easier to do that, but like to get customers and to get the things going whenever you're just present all the time. And I found that in my business, when I go down, like when I stop being as present, because I'm like, I got to get the work done, I've got to do all that stuff. So then does my workload go down? And then when I kind of go up, it just starts going, and then it gets exponential after a bit. So you have to keep up with it. But even if you do kind of turn it off for a while, when you come back, it's going to come back. So don't freak out if you can't do it like all the time, but do something you can commit to. So can you commit to once a week? Can you commit to twice a month? Can you commit to once a month? I also put out one big, a monthly, they call it Smart Social Sparks. It's a newsletter, and it has all of the updates about all of the changes in social media. Like, this is all the different changes that are happening in Instagram and Twitter and so on. And so people signed up for that from my Twitter account, because a lot of people on Twitter are interested in information. So I have a pinned tweet at the top of my Twitter account, a Cami Chat, you can see it there, where you can sign up to get that newsletter every month. So that's a once a month thing. And then what's great about that is that I have all these little pieces in there, and then I use those to spin out into my social media. So I'm not going to go too much further on that for you. I just want you to know that you do have to pick a content. And the best thing is if you have a larger piece of content, then you can cut it up into other little pieces and share it again and again on social media in a multitude of ways. So that's step one of your funnel, okay? So I'd love to know in the comments what you would like to do. So I think this is only working if you take action. So tell me, what would you be more comfortable with? Audio? Would you be more comfortable with video? Would you be more comfortable with a written kind of thing? Or maybe photos, if that's more your style. I don't know if there's photographers here. So which one of those four would you do? And how often? So how often are you committed to going out there and creating a seminal piece of content that you can share out over social media? Let me know. That being said, I'm sure some of you are like, I'm overwhelmed. I know I felt that way. Felt like all of this social media was chasing me and all the things I had to do. So that's why I really want you to focus on one of these things. And then from that, we can spin it out into all the other things that you need to have in order to be successful. All right. So let me just give you the start of my funnel. I'm going to reveal my entire funnel to you. You just need a simple plan. And this is mine. You do not have to do all these things. Say you just pick one social media channel. I am on all of them because remember, I have a team, okay? So as you have a team, you can add more, but don't do that until you can. In fact, right before we started, Emily, who's my intern, said, I'm starting on Smart Social Sparks. And so she's working on that. So I have people that are working for me to help me with this. And by the way, she's an intern, so you can get one of those too. Might be another way to do. Written. Okay. So you're going to do written, but video might be best. Okay, cool. Yeah. And written is fine. So you can do pillar content in your writing where you have like the 5 things or all the things that you need to know about a topic. So you get your topic and then you write everything possible about it. And you can do these very long blog posts, which do really well on SEO on Google. So it could be a good way for you to kind of show up in Google. And then all of the different parts of that article could become spin out as different social media posts. So you could focus in on those. Even like what I'm doing today, I'm giving you guys the 6 steps of a funnel, but then I can go back and do each one of these as a specific and discrete content. So I could take these and spin them out into 6 live streams over the next month and a half. And I probably will, by the way. So that's what I'm going to do is, spread it out. And then so I have this one presentation, and then I can do all the pieces, and it takes me out 2 or 3 months just like that without too much thought. So you only create it once and do it again. So writing isn't bad at all. She says, considering I had, or he, I don't know, it doesn't tell me. I've had 2 podcasts, probably audio. My business related podcast was monthly. My current fun podcast is Monday through Friday. Okay, so that's awesome that you're doing a fun podcast. It's always great to have things that are keeping your mind happy. So yeah, that's great. You want to be visible. Now, if you're doing a fun podcast, is it related to your work or is it different? So these are 2 different things, right? But podcasts are great. I use a tool called Bcast for that has been amazing for me. There's other tools too, but that one's been really good. Okay, so Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all of that is what I'm using. So I have my probably biggest following on Twitter. So Twitter's a big platform for me. But I take that and I actually live stream simultaneous to all the channels at once. So I use StreamYard, which is what we're using today, and I simultaneously stream to 5 different platforms. And by doing that, and by the way, I'm adding another one too, I'm adding Amazon. So now you can actually even live stream in Amazon if you get into their program. And it's fairly easy to get in. I guess you have to fill out a form and stuff. I've been an Amazon influencer for a long time, but if you already are doing reviews on Amazon and you're doing a lot of things, definitely Amazon's another way to go. So if you are somebody who sells things on Amazon, if you're an author, let me know. I'll be happy to give you the link. I didn't put it in my presentation, but you can stream to a bunch of different places now. And then I just do that at once. And then that you can watch the video. And what's cool about StreamYard is then you can download the video from StreamYard down to your computer, and you can download the audio separate. It'll strip the audio out for you. So if you're a podcaster, you can possibly use it as a podcast if you want to. You have to kind of structure it so it works as a podcast, but that can work. If you do a blog post, I threw that in there too. You could do that as well. You could send everybody from Facebook to your blog posts through different, posts, social posts, and so on, and get people onto your page. And what's great about all of that too is once they go to your page, if you are ever going to do advertising, you can do some more advanced things like pixels and Facebook. We're not going to get that deep today. Let's keep it simple. So you're going to have one piece of content. You're going to put it out to all of your social media channels. You're going to drive them to what I call a quick win page. And I'm going to move forward because that's the next step, is the quick win. So you're going to want to give them a quick win. And this is really, really important that you have something like this in your business. And I'm going to tell you, for the longest time, this was the hole in my funnel. I just did not have this. I was not building an email list. I was building a lot of followers. I was building community. I was building all of that on social media, but I was not building an email list that I could talk to over and over and over again. It was a mistake. I was a little anti-email, kind of am still to a certain degree, but I find that that's really the only way, because the social media channels will change. We had Blab, we had Vine, we had MySpace. Oh my gosh, I was when I started, it was MySpace. We've had a bunch of different things that have come and they've gone. And the biggest thing that stayed the same for me is that I've just followed my community to wherever they've gone. So like if we were deplatformed from MySpace, we ended up on Facebook. Then we went to Twitter, and then we went to Instagram, and now people are at LinkedIn. I mean, they change all the time. And so you have to kind of know where your tribe is going. So offering them valuable content is really important. And I know people call it a lead magnet or whatever, but make it really good. Like, make it stuff that you would actually charge for. I do it all the time. I give people stuff that I would actually charge to help them with. And I think it's really important. Today, I think I put my 2x2 as my giveaway. And that really is just an example of what I do. So I'll talk about the 2x2 in a minute, but that is a little mini training that's delivered through email. So that's really important. Some people will do a discovery call, but not like a sales call. Okay. So like a discovery call, like, can you get people on the phone, and when you're talking to them, actually solve one of their problems right there on the phone, like without pay, solve the problem. Keep it short, keep it simple. I did it just the other day. A guy called me and he was very skeptical of me, I guess, because he does e-commerce, and he was like, can you really help me? And I'm like, listen, I've hired this other company. They're going to do these ads for me. I said, here's what you need to ask them. Make sure that they know, you ask them who the audiences are that they're targeting. Like, you need to be very clear about your audiences, because he said he was getting a lot of people to come to his page, but nobody was buying. And I said, that means that you either have the wrong people coming to your page, or you have the messaging on your page is not attracting them enough. I said, one of those two things is broken. I don't know which one until we look at it. Because he was using, I think, Wix. They have a back end where they'll boost a post for you. And I said, who are they targeting for audiences? They said, well, they are targeting somebody. He couldn't tell me that. So I was like, you need to find that out. So I solved that problem for him right there. And then that made him go, wow, you aren't trying to get my money. And I said, I may or may not be the right person for you. I said, try this new group that you've already hired. I said, if you want to come to me and I can, consult with you on if it's working or not. So I just being like that on a sales call, where you really aren't overly working for the sale, in the sense of, you're like, buy from me, but you're saying, here, what's your problem? You're here, you're listening to them. What is your problem? And how can I help you solve it? So that's really how I approach those kinds of calls. And I work with big brands, and believe me, they will not take a direct sales call very well. So I think I get it from that. Just kind of selling those brands, you have to make them understand that you know what you're talking about. So free discovery call. Trainings. So this is an amazing training that's being put on by all of the people that are working with this. And they are trying to build a freelance group, that's nationwide, that's going to have a lot of amazing impact. And a great way to do that is by educating us, so that we come and we become part of this community and we help them to achieve their goals. And so that's another idea. Trainings are really good. And you can do it smaller scale, a webinar, or another small training, like a master class or something that you give. I do those occasionally, a master class that I'll just open up and I'll just teach a specific thing, and then let them decide if they want to keep working with me in a different way. And then, of course, what else can you offer? So these are my ideas: free discovery call, training, valuable content. In the comments, let me know what you offer. Maybe you already offer something, or you have an idea. So if you could put it in the comments, it would be great, because other people can learn from us too. I don't have the corner on all of the things that you can give away, but the idea is that you're giving them a quick win or a taste of what it's like to work with you. You want to give people a taste of what it's like to work with you, because then they think, what would it be like? This is the free stuff. What would be the actual paid? The paid stuff must be amazing, so you want them to think that. And you also want them to understand that you care about them, that you care about their business, that you care about their results. And so that's the idea. So let me know if there's something that you think you could give away that might attract people onto your email list. I would love to hear that. So there's a sustainable plan with this. So in addition to giving stuff away and being out on social media and broadcasting things, which is awesome, this is probably even more important in some ways. And by the way, if you can't do the broadcasting thing yet and you're trying to still figure it out, in the meanwhile, you should do this. This is really important. So I would say that you should spend most of your time on social media doing this over almost anything else, which is really about, I call it the 2x2 method, 2 conversations a day and 2 replies or comments per day. And what I mean by that is that you want to start a conversation either in a DM with someone, or in a public arena where you maybe ask a question, or as a comment under somebody else's work. You want to be out there interacting with at least 4 different people every day. 2 comments, 2 conversations, or maybe even sharing. Conversations could also be like you share somebody else's content with a little bit of what you are thinking with it. So don't just reshare, but share with like a little bit of your thinking, because you want people to understand how you think. You want to let them see it in action and think, wow, that person has a lot of good insight. And then that's how it goes. So during the pandemic, I did a 2-part Zoom program on crisis communication for nonprofits. Yes, that was an amazing idea. And that's exactly what you want to do for your content, your free taste. But in the meanwhile, so like as you start to go out there and you're becoming, seen and heard, what'll set you apart from other people is a lot of people broadcast, but very, very few people interact. And I don't mean just interacting with what people say on your content, but I mean going out and interacting on other people's content, like showing up. And there's just nothing that will change this. This is the secret sauce of everything I've ever done. This is how I came from being in that lonely apartment with those birds, all the way to what I'm doing now. This is the thing. And I've moved many times since. By the way, I moved from San Antonio to Houston, where I had no idea of anybody here. I started Social Media Breakfast. That was how I decided I would meet people, knowing no one. I just went and met with a couple of people, and they said, oh, what a good idea. And then they invited their friends, and I invited my friends, and we just really had these conversations online and offline. Again, this networking piece of it is so important, and it has to be about them, not about you. Like, what can I get out of that networking meeting? No, who can I help in that networking meeting? And if you help a person, even if it's not in your own field, like if you can help them and connect them with someone or do something for them, when you need them, they're going to step up. I've seen it over and over and over and over again for all of the, however long it's been now, almost 20 years I've been doing this. So honestly, this is the most important thing. So send a connection message, don't sell. Send nurturing messages like, hey, I saw this article and I thought about you, not one that you wrote, something that somebody else wrote. Share their public messages and interact with them when appropriate. Oh, by the way, nurturing messages, another thing you could do is say, hey, I met this person who you would really like to get to know. So connecting people, rotate through about 5 contacts per week. So usually I write a list of people that I really want to keep in touch with, and then I'll make sure that I'm touching base with them on a pretty regular basis. So I call it like 10, like pick 10 and then kind of rotate through them and then pick another 10 or, overlap them. But the idea is to hit on a number of people throughout the year. And so you have those relationships built and they continue over the years. The people that I was interacting with that in those early days when we were just blogging and we were leaving messages on each other's blogs, we are still connected today. Many, many of them. Some of them I've gone on to do amazing things with. I'm on the board of Civilination, which is run by Andrea Weckerly to work on online bullying and hostility. And she started that organization. Now I'm on her board of directors. We started as like blog buddies in the day, So I'm just saying this stuff really works, and it works for decades and decades. All right, cool. So collect leads. I got to keep going through here quickly. So again, the email list is hugely important. I use ConvertKit. You can go grab it here or go check it out. They'll let you have 1,000 free. So if you only have a really small email list, it's okay. It's free. You can go get a ConvertKit list. I love them because you can tag people with different kinds of interests. You can put in links where if they click on it, they put them on another list. So I could say, who are you? What do you like? And I can know what people's interests are and send them things that actually make sense for them. So I do love ConvertKit. I've also used MailChimp for years for Social Media Breakfast, and that list still lives on MailChimp. So there's a couple of other ones there. I know some of you probably have some that you use, but having an email autoresponder like that is really important so that you can easily get things out. So get one of those. Don't wait another day. Oh, the other thing I like about ConvertKit is you can also build landing pages there. So for your free thing, they have landing pages and you can just put them there and it's all in one package, right? You don't need to do anything special. Unless, of course, you want to put it on your WordPress blog and all that kind of stuff. You can do that if you have that ability. But honestly, if you're just a normal freelancer and you don't want to fuss with it too much, it's really, really good for that. And then there's your offer. And I'm not going to go too much into this because all of you have an offer, but I will call it the value stack. You need a no-brainer offer at the end of this that really makes sense for people. And this is something I've had to deal with too. Even with my current clients at Zoetica, I always throw in a bonus. I learned that from the marketing people, right? So I always throw in a little bonus into every single contract that I write. And I think it gets me over the hump in a lot of the contracts. Stuff that's not going to cost a lot for me to deliver, but it's going to have great value for them. So you just have to have a value stack in your offer. And these are the questions that I ask for the value stack. What makes the customer care about your offer? So you don't want it to be about you again. You want to make it about the customer and what they care about. So they need a motivation to buy from you. So do not lead with the features of what you do. Oh, we do 3 blog posts and 1 this and this, that. You want to lead with how it solves the problem that the customer has. So knowing that customer becomes really important, and you can just listen to your current customers and they'll tell you like, oh my gosh, I need a social media strategy. I feel like we don't have any plan. So, I'm like, let us help you help social media work for you. We will create a plan for you. We will do this. And we put that right up front in everything that we do. And then you have to offer them a transformation. So, go from being overwhelmed to totally confident that you have a social media plan that will work, for example, would be one way to put it. And then the objections bricks. People are always going to object to your offer. Price, it's going to be, it's not the right time. I don't have time for this right now. And so you want to think about what their objections are going to be about in advance and actually put their objections in your offer, meaning address them before they even say them. And that way people are like, oh yeah, I was really worried about that, but yeah, that makes sense. So if people have different objections on price, often price isn't truly the objection. It's more like it's not a value for me. Like, I don't feel like it's that valuable for me. And so you need to also think about that too, is how can you build it up so it's just a no-brainer. Like, it's be crazy if I didn't do this. If I don't do this, I'm not going to get where I want to go. So that's something you're going to have to think about in your copy, and everything else is just bringing those objections up front and really handling those. Then the risk reversal is big. How can you eliminate the risk to the customer? It's just, something that some people have money back guarantees for, like online training, or what is it that you're going to offer as a risk, reversal for your client? It doesn't have to be, giving their money back, but it can be things like, here's what we'll do, and we'll do it until you have your satisfaction. So have some kind of satisfaction clause. And I know it's scary to do that because you're afraid, what if they do ask for the money back? And 9 times out of 10 they won't. Especially if you're good at what you do, and I know you are, you will be fine as long as you put it in the contract and make it clear. Like, so, if they go past a certain point, they can't get their money back at that point, or whatever it is. In some contracts, it's just a 30-day out clause, or, that kind of thing. So you can just put that in. And we had our lawyer earlier today, so you can go back and listen to about how to do the contracts. Really important. I agree with her. And then finally, a product delivery system. So this is another thing that I think I made a mistake over the years on, and that is that I talked to my clients. I mean, I kind of did the same process, but I didn't name my process. And I had this whole thing that, if you're my client, I'm going to make sure that we make a custom package for you. So I was like working myself into the ground, making custom packages for everyone. It was the worst idea ever. But I just wanted to serve, so I didn't think about it that way. So a couple of years ago, it's about 5 or 6 now, I was talking to a friend of mine, Brian, who is really great at working with businesses to help them figure these things out. And he goes, well, you do have a process when you work with your clients, right? I said, well, yeah, but it's really long. Like, I do this and this and this and this and this. And he goes, okay, let's just stop. And so we met and put it up on a whiteboard. And I wish I had sticky notes here, but yeah, I do always have sticky notes. So we put up each step of the process on a sticky note. And I had 12 or 13 steps. It was a lot of steps. And I started organizing them, and I realized they fell into 4 buckets. The bucket number 1 was clarity. So I helped people to get clear about what their strategy was who their customer was, what they needed to do, like where they wanted to go. I helped them set measurable goals, that kind of stuff. So that was we called that clarity. And then the second thing is I taught people how to connect with their ideal customer, how to find them, how to put together a campaign to get to them, all of that stuff. And so that was number 2, and that was connect, right? So clarity, connect. And then, of course, we taught them how to create, and we did it for them too in many ways. We would create their content and teach them what kind of content to create and where they needed to be putting their efforts. We talked about this a little bit earlier in your visibility step. So I called that create. And then the last part, which I was known for very well, is about how to measure your social media and know that it's really working. And so I would work with them on setting up their measurements strategy and like how to know they're working and how to make the pivots that you need to make in order to stay successful. So that was really how to pivot your strategy and all of that. And so I was speaking on these 4 things all the time, and I called them different things at different times. And I realized I could turn them into the 4C process. And I'm like, okay, here's the 4C process: clarity, connect, create, and calibrate. So what's your process that you can sell to your customers? Because now I can very clearly tell my customers what we do. And I can tell them what products that we offer under each of the C's. So if that makes sense to you, let me know. But it was an aha for me. And so I don't know if any of you out there are just recreating the wheel all the time with your customers, but if you are, this is really great. And if you can call it a process, like this is our 4C process, it really does help them visualize how you're going to work with them. And when they can visualize how you're going to work with them, they're less likely to say no. Because if you confuse a client, you will lose them in the process. So the more clear you can be about what you do and how you solve their problem, the more likely it is they're going to say yes to you in the sales process. So that being said, and we also use a really great online tool called Nusii, Nusii. And Nusii is like a proposal project. It's online, and it makes it into a PDF, and you can save sections. So I can save sections of content and like mix and match and put them together. Case studies I have in there, everything. And so I can assemble a proposal in like a fraction of the time of what it used to take me to make a proposal. So just saying that you need to have some kind of system, but by having these 4 C's, it makes that so much easier. Cool. I'm glad you are happy. It is simple. Yes, simple is better always, I think. And then finally, testimonials. I'm almost out of time. Testimonials. So I know that Kimberly just talked about that for an entire hour, so I'm not going to spend as much time on it because of that. Go back and listen to what she had to say because it's so good. And she pretty much says a lot of what I'm saying here. But really, there's three ways you can think about this: the beginner way to get testimonials, the intermediate, and the advanced. So in the beginner, I mean, honestly, just ask for a recommendation on LinkedIn. I did this for years. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile and go down to my testimonials section, or reviews or whatever they call them, that is full of people that have said nice things about me. And I send them an invitation to do that. It's clients of mine. And I ask them, can I do that? And then I'll send them that invitation. You can do it right through LinkedIn. And then they put them in there. And then I say, hey, can I use those in other places? And then I take the things they say in LinkedIn and I put them on my website and in my proposals and everywhere else. So that's been really, 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 really good way to do it. Also, claim your business on Google My Business, Nextdoor, Yelp. So you can claim your business. And Nextdoor, by the way, is becoming a huge one. Although, less so for consultants and more for like people that are like your plumbers and so on. But Google My Business is so powerful, guys. It is amazingly powerful. In fact, I think it's next month. No, 2 months from now. I think it's in June. I'm having somebody come on Social Media Breakfast and talk about how you can use Google Your Business to really elevate your business. So I'm really excited about that coming up. But really, those are really important. And I did do that years ago. I, claimed my Google Your Business, and that helps you take another position on the front page of Google or anywhere else like that, so that you can have your LinkedIn profile, you can have your website, you can have Google My Business. It's great. It takes up all these spaces. It's amazing. And then advanced is really setting up some sort of software to collect testimonials or inviting people. I use one called Vidmonial, and It's kind of working. It's hard. I think what Kimberly said is true. People don't know what to say. So you definitely want to arm them before they go there with what they're going to be saying. You can also leave a text testimonial there. So if you want to leave a testimonial about my speech today, that would be awesome, because people are always wanting to know if people are happy with my speaking. So that would be awesome if you went there. So bit.ly/review SSS, and then you can see how it works. So that's how I do that. Let me go on here. So this is my current funnel. This is the whole thing. And basically, again, what we do is we go from all of the social media tools, which are up here, right? So all these social media tools, we watch the video. I send them to the quick win page, which right now, by the way, is the 2x2. I also have the social media Sparks, which is similar. And then you opt in and you get the download, or in this case, it's several emails. And then I have this delivery of the emails, and then you talk about different things there. So if you wonder what you do with your emails, you can have a delivery email, a little bit about you, solve a problem for them, overcome an objection, give them the offer if there's an offer, and then go to the sales page. So you can go all the way up to this point, even if you don't have something to sell like this. And that's a great way to nurture people. So if you, from here, this might not be a sales page. This might be a call with you. Like say, hey, I have some openings for XYZ. It doesn't have to be a sales page per se. It could just be a Calendly. It could be anything, just to get them into your world and talking to you. Then you can add them to a cart. I use Thrivecart, and I have this written down on the next slide so you can take a picture and watch it later if you want. And then I send them to a purchase. So that's how that goes. And then after you get to the purchase, they're going to deliver a sequence of emails there too, because you want to make sure when people are coming on board, you're kind of supporting them and making their experiences good. And then you're going to give them amazing service, and you're going to get a testimonial at the end. You're going to ask for that testimonial. I know for Smart Social Secrets, when we ran the course afterwards, I asked people at the end of the course that I would give them a half-hour one-on-one to talk about their business and how they were going to apply what we'd learned over the last 6 weeks to their business specifically. After I ran a group course, I said, and the only thing I'm going to ask is if you just give me a little testimonial. And so they came on, and I actually used StreamYard too, and I recorded them, and then I downloaded the testimonial. So I have a whole bunch of course testimonials, and that's the way I did it. I gave them something in return, in a sense, without giving them. So take a picture of this real quick, because I want you to map your own pathway. So do a little screenshot. We'll give you a second to do that. And I really, really, really want you guys to do this. It's not worth anything unless you actually take action. And I would love if you did it and then told me about it. So I'll tell you in the next screen what my email address is and everything. But I'd love to hear if you take this and run with it and put something together for your business. Let me see if there's any other questions. So if you have any questions while you're taking the screenshots, please put them in the comment section now. Like, if there's any thing that's there. Okay, is it okay to want to remain solo and small? I'm semi-retired. And how do I not? Oh, this is such a good question. Here, you can bring me to the full screen here, Kev. So thank you for asking that question. So I did that for a decade. So I wasn't retired, obviously, but when I first started this, I had babies. I had 3 small children. I had 3 kids under the age of 5 when I started my business. And I'm going to tell you that I didn't want to get big, and I didn't want employees, and I didn't want to have that in there. So you can turn this on and off as you would like, but I would say just do the one thing a week, like go out and do that and set up something simple. So what's great about the funnel is once it's set up, it really requires no work from you, except for to show up and give the link to the freebie, and then, or the gift, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, and then take as many or as little of those as you want. Those become leads, and really not all leads pan out, right? So once you set it up, so you could just use ConvertKit and nothing else. So you could go out and do your live streams, drive people to the ConvertKit landing page, which is easy to make. They're templated. So you just go in, you put it in, you write in what you're going to write, and then they download the thing, or they or they create the meeting with you. So I just think it can be as simple as you want it to be. And like I said, when I backed off from it, which I have from time to time, it just slows down. It just slows down on its own. And then you come back and people are like, oh, I forgot about you. And then they start, it starts coming back on. It's like a faucet. I'm not even kidding about that. So, anyway, that's my answer to your question. You can totally do this, and it's a wonderful retirement project because, again, you can do that as you want. So that being said, I'm going to put up my screen here. Please grab my email. It's Cami@zoeticamedia.com, and you can please, contact me if you want. Definitely go download the 2x2, which is here. And then I'm going to do this real quick so they can take a screenshot of this as well. I talked about a lot of tools during this program. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can now know what all the tools I talked about were and what I recommend for all the different things. And if you'd like my whole Cami's big list of tools, which is like kind of overwhelming, but if you're a tool crazy person like I am, just email me and I'll send you the link to that as well. And that's it.
Awesome. Cami, I cannot believe how much information you packed into the last 48 minutes or something like that. And we do have a hard stop at 6 tonight because we have a sort of an add-on program that we didn't have for the SBA, which we're really excited about that. But, I just want to say how much I appreciate you pointing out the synergy of these different of these presentations, right? So you made reference to a few others. And, our goal is to try to not have too much duplication. And even if you have 2 attorneys on, let's say, they're maybe talking about different things, so I appreciate the fact that I think it's true. I think if you look at this entire week and sort of put them together as a package, there's sort of a flow between everything. But I think one thing also builds on the other. And so I think that's the great thing. If you do the all access pass, you get all the replays, and we'll be promoting that, of course. And I appreciate all of your promotion. I always feel somewhat, deficient here with Cami because she knows she's like a StreamYard expert, and that is a platform we're using, although you all may not know it. And so last year when I was trying to educate her on this, it was real clear that she knew a lot more about StreamYard than I did. So thank you, Cami, for all your help to me, and thank you for just being so generous with your comments about this conference. I think that you always provide such great value, to people who are watching, and I just encourage everybody, to sign up for the freebie. And there it is again. Just click on the I want this button on the program page, on the session page. It is great. I'll say I did it. I think last year you offered the Smart Social Secrets, which is hard to say real fast. And it was awesome. I got to tell you, it was great. And it was just seamless. And it was really nice the way it worked. And there's real valuable information in there in that series of emails, I think, that you talked about. So anyway, it is great stuff. And we've answered and talked about most of the comments as we've gone along. So I appreciate that. And you had some great little quotes that I tried to paraphrase and pop up there too as you went along. So any closing comments for us? Yeah,
a little bit. So I had one more question that was there that said, can you share any tips on how to find where your ideal clients are in social media? Yes, I can. And so here's the thing about finding your ideal clients. You need to think about who is your favorite client, and then go and talk to them and say, hey, what do you read? Where do you go? What do you think? And then go there and look on the comments. So there's a lot of Facebook groups that are around topics. Look in those, join them, see what people are asking about, the questions people are asking. Quora is an amazing place to go. Type in your topic in Quora and see what kind of questions pop up. That's actually a great way to start making content, because that'll give you exactly what you need and it will draw those people in. So that's, I only had 30 seconds. That's all I can tell you. But email me. I'll tell you more. Thank you
for coming back to that question. I popped it off too quickly.
No, it's okay.
Again, thank you so much, Cami. So much appreciate your time and hang in there. And I know we'll probably see you again at Freelance Business Week 2022.
I hope so.
All right.
All right, guys.
Bye now. All right, everyone. So we are about 5 minutes away from our next session, SBA Resources to Support Your Business. Jonelle Hein, who is the District Director for the SBA South Florida office. So I'll see you there in about 5 minutes. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.